Welcome to the SVG-TV news for Friday, August 21st. I'm Khalil Keita with the details. A flash flood watch is currently in effect for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A flash flood watch is issued when conditions are favorable and there exists the possibility of flooding during the watch period. According to the SVG Met Services, Tropical Depression 13 was upgraded to Tropical Storm Laura at 9 a.m. this morning, and at 2 p.m. the center of Laura was located near 17 degrees north, 60.8 degrees west, or 170 miles east-southeast of the northern Leeward Islands. The Met Services say instability associated with Laura could continue to generate moderate to heavy showers and thunderstorm activity across St. Vincent and the Grenadines into tomorrow. In addition, the system is expected to generate wind speeds between 12 and 28 miles per hour with higher gusts near showers. The bulletin from the Met Services says some stations across St. Vincent have already recorded significant rainfall accumulations today, and there is a possibility of an additional 1 to 2 inches, with isolated higher amounts in mountainous areas into Saturday. It is also noted that soils in some areas are saturated and some rivers remain inundated. The flash flood watch for SVG issued at 4 p.m. today will be in effect until 12 noon tomorrow. In addition, sea conditions would be moderate in open waters with swells between 2 and 2.5 meters. Small craft operators and sea bathers are also asked to exercise caution for above normal sea swells and gusty winds. The Met Services say the flood watch may be upgraded to a warning if conditions warrant. The ruling Unity Labour Party's candidate for North Leeward, Carlos James, said that while there is still a lot of work to be done to further develop SVG under their administration, the country has gone through a major transformation. Reflecting on the challenging times he said he faced as a youth in the educational system, James said under the ULP administration, with his representation, the youth in the North Leeward constituency do not have to experience the same hardships. He also highlighted some of the major developmental changes taking place in the country.
Now there's universal access to primary and secondary education. Despite boasting of millions in exports to Europe under preferential trade, our country experienced one of the worst periods of poverty. Indigents dirt poor poverty moved under this ULP government from 25.7% to 2.9%. Large-scale informal human settlements, inadequate housing for the poor and working class across the country was the order of the day. Over 2,000, 2,500 houses built, low and no-income homes for persons of the poor and working class in this country.
James said that due to the education revolution, North Leeward will soon have a large batch of doctors.
A single parent mother. I said, no, you need to be in a university. She's now in Cuba. We are lifting our young people higher. They're the Stewart sisters, also out of Spring Village. By 2025, I can boast that in North Leeward I would have at least over a dozen medical trained doctors coming and emerging out of this education revolution of the Unity Labour Party government. No other constituency will surpass that.
The Central Committee of the New Democratic Party has unanimously endorsed Dr. Godwin Friday's team to fight the next election in a bid to form SVG's next government. In a news release, Dr. Friday said his team continues to focus on job creation, better health care, new investment opportunities for the people of SVG, and would like to see his team deliver on these as the government. The release said the NDP's Vice President Sinclair Leacock emphasized the commitment of all members of the team working together to win the upcoming general elections for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Similar sentiments were echoed by NDP Chairman and West Kingstown Representative Daniel Cummings, who said that the upcoming general elections is the most important for today's generation, which will decide SVG's future. Meanwhile, the NDP's Central Committee also last evening confirmed and ratified Bernard Wiley as the party's candidate for the Mariaquaw constituency at the upcoming polls. Wiley replaced Kirk De Silva, who was selected by the party's Mariaqua Constituency Council more than a week ago. At that selection, De Silva received 15 of the 29 votes and Wiley 8. The other two persons who were in the race to be on the ticket for the NDP for Mariaqua were Philip Jackson and Curtis Bowman. They, along with De Silva, withdrew their candidacy at the Central Committee meeting last evening. In an interview with SVG-TV News on the candidate selection process 2 weeks ago, party leader Dr. Godwin Friday explained that the final ratification of a candidate is usually done by him following a two-stage process.
The process is one that we have followed in the other selection processes, and in the interim between the decision of the party group or the constituency division, they recommend to me, then we have the time frame in which we inform the central committee, and we take that and any recommendations that we made to the central committee to make the final decision. The process is one that we obviously have to get the best candidate going forward for the general elections. As the president of the party and somebody who is always willing to want to bring everybody together, I listen to all the concerns that are raised, because we want to make sure that at the end of the day we have solidarity and we have the support of not just some but all of the NDP supporters and other supporters who will be willing to give us their support in these coming up elections. So we have a process that we are moving forward with. And in the end of the day, we will have the solidarity that we need to go forward to win the election. That is the important thing, and all the candidates are committed to doing that.
Dr. Friday was in Mariaqua Dr. Friday was in Mariaqua 3 days after the NDP's Mariaqua Constituency Council voted for De Silva to be their candidate, as many party supporters were not too pleased with the selection. After hearing the views of the people in Mariaqua at last evening's Central Committee meeting, Dr. Friday was the one who confirmed and ratified Bernard Wiley as the NDP's Mariaqua candidate. Wiley is a former member of Parliament under the NDP administration more than a decade ago. Prior to the 2015 election, Kirk De Silva was a prospective candidate for Mariaqua for the Unity Labour Party. He, however, stepped aside for Sinclair Jimmy Prince, who then went on to win the seat for the ULP. De Silva later switched to the NDP, which he said he will remain with, even though he will not be the party's candidate for Mariaqua in the upcoming polls. The half-price subsidy for fertilizers is a good thing at this time. However, a more organized system should be put in place to make the process easier. That's the view of several farmers who were at the Agriculture Input Warehouse in Kingstown earlier this week, taking advantage of the reduced price.
Appreciate the price of the reduced price of the Liza, but it becomes complicated. Getting it is very complicated, because you have one person getting 10, one person getting. Last time they had one person get 300 bags and all ran out. So I more appreciate this time that you have a limit on how much you could get. But still, if you look at the crowd there, it's hectic. Very, very hectic to get the Liza. So if you could come up with a better way to circulate or to disperse the Liza, rather than the crowd, people mashing each other, and that would be much better.
I feel proud about the half-price menu, because it's the first time I get, because I always buy menu for $80. But I just buy other menu for $120. I just plant dasheen, Edos, corn.
I own 2 acres of land in Belmont, which I have banana on. I have 7.5 acres of land in Provenville, which I have planting on. And I have 2.5 acres of land in the same Provenville, which I have banana on. And the last time fertilizer come, I do not get a sack. It's a good venture for give farmers half price, because I lost all my crop will wipe out. But I still figure I mightn't get manual, because I did hear from since 7 o'clock this morning, and I still did to the back of the line. But I'm hoping to get manual. I know if I will get.
And Minister of Agriculture Soboto Caesar said the ministry will continue with its efforts to build the capacity and resilience of farmers to grapple with the vagaries of climate change. Speaking from the Agriculture Input Warehouse in Kingstown, where farmers were taking advantage of the limited time to purchase fertilizer at a reduced price, Minister Caesar highlighted some of the work being done to build resilience.
And we have been working with the FAO, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, to ensure that we build capacity as it pertains to resilience. Persons may remember that we got assistance through the banana company in measures to assist persons with water tanks. We are also ensuring that a lot of the different varieties that we are going to plant in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and even the livestock, that they are more resilient and more tolerant to these drought conditions. We have to live with the world as it is. Definitely we did not contribute to the significant ozone depletion that we have witnessed over the years, but as a small island developing state, we have to ensure that we put in place as policymakers initiatives so that we can grapple with these vagaries of climate change. And definitely in 2020 we saw the brunt of a very difficult drought, and we as a ministry, we are going to continue to work to ensure the resilience of our farmers.
The Agriculture Minister also took the opportunity to speak on the Canadian Farm Workers Program, with which concerns have been expressed about accommodation and other difficulties facing some Vincentian workers in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister Caesar said these issues have been resolved.
18 of our farm workers at that particular establishment, there was a situation with accommodation, and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, particularly the Department of Labor, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the consulate in Toronto, the authorities in Canada from the side of the government, and also the farm owners, they have worked to ensure that the matter is resolved. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines took very quick action, and we opened the opportunity to all the workers on that particular farm that there was a hotel accommodation that was being made available to them. However, only 3 persons took up the offer, but I am advised that the issue has been addressed, and I just want persons to know who are there on the Farm Workers Program and their families who are here, and their loved ones and their friends, that the OECS, we have an excellent body of workers and human resource capacity placed in Toronto to ensure that when these issues, when they arise, that they are dealt with.
Vincentians consume a great amount of meat products, with chicken considered the most popular. Over the years, however, there have been concerns about the presence of chemicals in some of these products and the harm they can pose to one's health. Our news team recently visited the Richmond Vale Academy and discovered a farming model which utilizes trees to promote chemical-free and sustainable meat products. Here's more in this report.
Fry, bake, stewed or roasted. Many Vincentians enjoy chicken and its many byproducts as part of their diet. However, as the nation becomes more health conscious, the demand for chemical and GMO-free chicken is steadily increasing. Our search for alternative methods took us to the Richmond Vale Academy, where fruit trees such as mango, soursop, and guava are used to provide food and a sheltering environment to chickens, which live in a free-range system. The Academy's director, Stina Herberg, described what farming model is being used and how it benefits the chickens.
Yeah, this is a very exciting model, and it is called a silvopastoral livestock system, and in this one we have planted a variety of fruit trees and also food trees like moringa, and we have 200 chicken here. And they lay a lot of eggs, and actually we have them in a big free-range system, so they will go into their house, put their eggs there, we'll pick them up, eat them, sell them. But the trees create a very good garden environment for them, so they will have shade, and they will also be able to be outside and scratch in the soil and take their bath. And you can say the environmental benefits are clear with the trees for the nutrition, but there's also a very good economical benefit, which is that these chicken will lay eggs for a longer time than if you keep them in small caged spaces.
There's a saying, You are what you eat, and Herberg said what the chicken consume is equally important.
Yeah, well, I think it's important when whatever we eat is how it's made, if it's made without chemicals, if it's made with chemicals. And the animal feed, these chicken are also fed partly imported feed, but by having this yard and having these fruit trees, we reduce the amount of imported feed. Most of the animal feed that we buy in St. Vincent is imported and are likely to have been used a lot of GMO, genetically modified ingredients. Using these kind of ingredients is quite harmful to your health. So therefore it's important to know where your food comes from, where the food for the animals come from, and then see what you can do to reduce and again eat more local and more food that is chemical free.
The Academy's director said the farming model is not difficult and can be replicated by anyone.
Maybe not whatever the land space, because you need a little bit of space for this. But if you have just a little space, you can always have a backyard garden. But we'll talk about that in a bit. I think my background is in marketing, and I'm a teacher. So I learned to farm here. And I would say if I can learn how to farm, you can learn how to farm. So anyone can learn how to farm, and it gives such great pleasure to produce some of your own food and prepare it and eat it and know it comes from your garden and your hands, and it's a beautiful experience actually.
For SVG-TV's Evening News, I am Alvin.
Police have arrested and charged Alvin Loveless, a 36-year-old van driver of Camden Park, with possession of a controlled drug and drug trafficking. Investigations revealed that Loveless allegedly had in his possession over 122,000 grams of cannabis with intent to supply to another. He was further charged with having the controlled drug in his possession for the purpose of drug trafficking. The incident occurred at Pembroke at about 12:50 p.m. on August 19th. Loveless appeared at the Serious Offences Court today to answer to the charges and pleaded guilty. The matter was adjourned to August 31st for facts and sentencing. 8 students who will commence their secondary education at the end of this month were awarded scholarships and bursaries from the Basel Charles Foundation. 5 of the students were awarded full scholarships and 3 bursaries. At the handing over ceremony, manager of Basel's bar, Banton Bacchus, said this is the 25th year that the Basel Charles Educational Foundation is providing scholarships and bursaries to students, noting that Charles has also been instrumental in providing support to families during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Basel's Educational Foundation stepped up to help a lot of persons by buying tablets and providing bursaries where it was necessary. At times, Basel himself was overwhelmed by what was happening, and he would call me time and time again. He would call the secretary and he said, let's help this person, let's do this for this person. So even though school was not in attendance, we were still behind the scene and doing what best that we can for the foundation.
Currently, there are approximately 25 students benefiting from the Basel Charles Education Foundation scholarships and bursaries program. Chairperson of the Educational Foundation, Karen Joseph Nero, highlighted some of the opportunities afforded to the scholarship and bursary recipients.
The primary students were completely engaged in the program. They completed the task of programming, IT, architectural design, robot building, and programming. 3 educational field trips, and were assisted in creating their own exhibition. The secondary students were guided to select their subject based on the current academic level in their schooling. The foundation has also partnered with the Ministry of National Mobilization and the Ministry of Education over the years, and they have been instrumental in improving the sleeping facilities at 14 preschools throughout the island, and to also offer a nutritional support program whereby the students attending the preschools were able to get a nutritional meal as part of their daily activities.
With schools set to reopen in a week's time, this year's recipients and their parents are happy for the assistance. A past scholarship recipient shared how the financial support helped in her academic pursuits.
After high school, I moved on to the A-level college where I studied travel and tourism, and I graduated the top tourism student of 2019. I am also a national track and field athlete. Thanks to Basel Charles for blessing me with the opportunity of having a full scholarship throughout my high school life.
I feel very grateful because not many people get the opportunity that I get to have a scholarship.
You know, as a single parent, this will help me out a good way. I will try to save it for passage for sure, and probably buy a few of the books that she haven't got as yet. It's very costly. She gets some from the school, but she haven't get a great amount still from the school.
Hundreds of students across mainland St. Vincent today completed one of the programs of a 2-week summer camp hosted by the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture. The objective of the summer camp was to prepare the children physically and mentally for the reopening of school. At the closing for the physical activities at the Victoria Park, Assistant Sports Officer Samantha Lynch said that an important aspect of the program involved COVID-19 education.
It was a great initiative in that because of the fact that so many persons and the kids were at home for such a long time without really any structured activities, we thought that it would have been best to bring them out before the opening of school. Of course, we know that the COVID-19 is pretty much in the air. However, what we try to do is practice social distancing with the kids, teach them about washing their hands, teach them about when to wash their hands, how to wash their hands, and to avoid putting their hands in their faces. Because as they go back out to school, they have to know these things in order for them to be, to protect themselves and others against the COVID-19, the spread of COVID-19.
Today, there were close to 40 students at the Victoria Park, some of whom told SVG-TV News that they were happy to attend the summer camp as it was fun learning and engaging in physical activities away from home.
I like how we do stuff. We keep on washing our hands and keep on social distancing. Sometimes we hug and we bounce each other. The summer program, I like it a lot. But because of the rain, sometimes we don't get to go out and do some fun activities. But I think it's really fun that we could meet new people and make friends.
Also helps children to lose weight and to have fun at the same time. It's very fun and you exercise and you take water breaks.
I love her day, just teaching me how to play tennis, all kind of stuffs, because I wanted to play tennis for my whole life, but my mommy didn't want me to, so here's where I'm going to play tennis. I learned how to catch and throw and play I play with skipping rope and things. I don't know how to skip rope before. That's what I like about it. And I just got this pendant.
I enjoy doing tennis because some of the kids here don't know how to play, and some of the kids are teaching others how to play certain games. Yeah, so it's pretty fun.
I like playing cricket here. It is the best game I can ever say, and I hope I get to be here again.